Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the 3 Count Podcast. I'm your boy Big Papa Trav.
I'm King Golden.
And welcome to the newest member of the podcast, Grant. And sorry about that, Grant. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Grant, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey, what's up? I'm Grant, and it's a real pleasure being on here.
Well, Grant, we definitely are glad to have you. We definitely love having another member to the podcast. Just another member that loves wrestling as much as we do. So what we're gonna do is go over. We're having a special here where we're doing both Raw and Smackdown. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go over Raw. I was unavailable due to a family emergency, so we're gonna do a two episode special today, guys. I hope you guys don't mind if this runs a little bit long. So thanks, guys. So these episodes are the final episodes going into the next pay-per-view, which is the Super Showdown. And so Grant, with the Super Showdown coming up, what did you think with this episode of Raw? What did you think with this episode of Raw?
Well, especially with Seth Bryers, I don't know. We don't know if he's going to be in Super Showdown or not, and we don't know what type of role. I forgot his name.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about Seth Rollins here in a minute. Let's just go about, what did you think the show as a whole? Like, do you think, like, for me, I think it's a little bit better as a whole.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Raw this week is a lot better than last week, especially with last week they're doing a lot more acting, and this week they've been doing more wrestling, but they still have a good amount of acting, which they of course need. But it's been a lot better this week, of course.
Yeah, I do agree with you that the storytelling aspect of it has gotten a little bit shorter. I think that they have gotten more into the wrestling aspect of it. I think that the fans have spoken and they're hearing it. What do you think, Golden? Golden, what do you think about where the state of WWE is this week? What are you feeling as far as Raw? This episode of Raw. What are you feeling?
The show, as Grant said, the show was much better than last week's show. There was no, I would say, there was no wasted time during these 3 hours. Constant flow. Most importantly, if you're an AEW fan or you're concerned about AEW doing better than WWE this coming fall, AEW chants in the arena. So that was a good sign for WWE. There were no "this is boring" chants. The crowd was into the show tonight, into the show on Monday night. Into the action, they were into the show. So that's a very good sign for WWE and for Raw. And it was overall a good show. And the last match was good. From the first hour to the third hour, it was a pretty well-rounded show.
Yeah, I mean, I am gonna have to agree that it is the show from beginning to end was a really tight show. I think honestly, Raw is notorious for switching things at the last minute and not having a full plan like they used to, where they have a script and they say this is what you do, and that's how they used to be. But now, as of late, Vince McMahon is changing things like right to the last minute, not even having a full script, going to the show blinded, I don't work for them, so I don't know if that's true. That's just the rumors, but they're just notorious for having that rumor, not having complete shows, writing the show up to the last minute, changing matches at the last minute. And this show seems like it was a fully scripted show that they completely followed from beginning to end. And I feel like that's what they need to do to have a show like that, and where people are invested. Because I think when you have a show that is locked down, the competitors, I'm sorry, not the competitors, but the wrestlers know how to work a match better and can plan out something a little bit better. Because as an ex-wrestler, not many people know this, but Big Papa used to wrestle. I used to do this. For many years I did this in the independent circuit. And, we knew, for a while who was going to go over. And it was able, you never want to plan a match move by move. You never want to do that. But you want to have a good beginning, middle, and end to be able to tell a story. But if you don't have a way to be able to have a good middle and end, you're not going to be able to have a good match. And if you have a promoter that's going to be changing things at the last minute, you're going to go over, no, you're going to go over, no, you can't have a good match. And I feel like WWF doing that, and that's why the matches haven't been consistently good, And I think with this Raw, I don't think I saw one bad match or one bad segment, really. Okay, no, I saw a bad segment, and we're not going to talk about that segment on Raw because it involved
first thing that happened was
well,
I didn't mean to cut you off, Charles. I'll let you finish.
Oh no. No, it's all good. It's all good. I was just stating that the one bad segment on there that is just by the thing that honestly shouldn't even be in Raw or wrestling at that matter. But no, go ahead, finish your statement. Go with your
Which segment was you talking about? That bad segment that you were talking about? We want to know that segment you were talking about.
Oh, Lars Sullivan. I mean, he's horrible. I mean,
Lars Sullivan.
He's just horrible.
Yeah, man. He had. What did you think about his interview on SmackDown?
Well, we'll get to that. Yeah. I mean, we're not on SmackDown right now. We're still on Raw, man. But it's just horrible. I don't know if it's the way that they have him booked, or I didn't watch him in NXT, so I don't know. I was excited when I saw his intro, but I mean, you can cut together anything to make somebody look good, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought they were going to go a different direction with him when they were going to put him against going against Matt and R-Truth, but they just put him with the Lucha, and he's gonna squash them. Like, there's no competitive anything against them, so nothing against Lucha. I mean, they're fun and everything, but no, I'm sorry, put him against somebody that's gonna build them up.
Those four Lucha guys are so talented.
Yeah, but
they get squashed on Friday.
Yeah, to put them against him, I'm sorry, that's just not, like, put him against somebody that at least has a chance or something. I mean, not to say that he's not gonna win, but at least make him look like he can actually wrestle or do something, not just like, okay, yeah, he's powerful. Like Braun Strowman, when he first came in, that's what they did to him, but now at least he looks like he can do stuff besides, I'm big giant, I squash stuff. You know what I mean? So, do something like that. Do what they did with Braun. But whatever. Besides that, I took us off the point. Let's get back. Let me reel it back in here. Let's kind of go back to the point. Let me stop Vince McMahoning this here, and let's get back.
I don't mind talking about Lars. Yeah, let's talk about Lars Sullivan for a minute, because Lars Sullivan, I mean, all he's been doing is squashing the luchadors for about a month now. I mean, and this is all he's been doing. I mean, can the crowd really get behind this guy? I mean, he's not even had a match yet. I mean,
I believe he did, but again, it was another squash match. But you know, I think the original plan was him to do what he's doing with the luchadors. I mean, with the lucha house parties. I think that was originally supposed to be the Hardys and R-Truth, but with Jeff getting hurt, they kind of had to switch that up and put the triple threat to somebody else. Put the belt on R-Truth, and Matt is just now running after. They didn't know what to do with Matt, so now he's just one of those people that are going after R-Truth, you know, in that line of people. And so that's kind of where that's at. You know, I think
question
honestly,
is,
don't know what to do with him. I don't know if they're building.
The crowd is actually interested in Lars Sullivan.
I don't.
Do you think they care about him?
No, I don't. I don't think they do, because I don't think he has the personality to for the crowd to get behind, even to boo him. I don't think the crowd cares enough to even boo him. Like, again, let's talk more about him when we get to SmackDown, because that gets more into his interview, and that gets more into SmackDown. And I want to talk more about Raw right now, because we haven't even really talked about Raw, and Raw was an excellent show.
Okay, let's talk about Raw.
I mean, and that starts off with the beginning, and I know, Grant, you know, you had a good point when we were talking off air about what happened at the beginning there, you know, with Shane McMahon.
It's like, you know, Roman Reigns, he took 5 minutes to get to the ring, but, you know, soon he was interrupted by Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. And, you know, I think it's awesome that, you know, they threaten each other, you know, a little bit for, you know, just that, you know, they needed a little banter, of course. It's part of the show, but soon they, you know, set up a tag team match. And, you know, Drew McIntyre and, you know, the rival defeated Roman Reigns and the Usos. So, McIntyre won the match for his team. And, yeah, and I thought that went really well. And, you know, I didn't think, I actually thought it would go down a bit differently. Because I was actually surprised to see an interruption this early, but it has happened before. So yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, and that goes to show that, you know, after the previous week's Raw, you know, we didn't even get a match for 1 hour, guys. We didn't get a match for 1 hour, and that shows how mad everybody was about that. And the WWF fans spoke about that on almost every social media aspect, and it shows that the WWF listened, that okay guys, we can't go and do that again. Like 1 hour without a match, 1 hour without a match. I mean, this is WWE wrestling, you know, in the you know, I know it's entertainment, but in this as a whole, this is still wrestling, and we've got to put wrestling in this. And so, you know, they put it in pretty quickly, and I think that goes to show that they do listen sometimes, and they put it in pretty quickly. One of my things, though, is I'm tired of seeing Shane on both shows. I want to see more people, but you know, but the match, you're right, was
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, dude, I can see Roman Reigns on both shows. I don't care. I love seeing Roman Reigns. I'm glad that the fans aren't booing him anymore. And I hated when he was getting booed. I hated it because he is such a good athlete. He's such a, he's good, and I hated the fans booing him. But that is because the WWE pushed him a little bit faster than he should have been pushed. But they were doing the John Cena thing, and the fans picked that up. The fans are smart. We're not dumb. When we know when somebody's being shoved down our throats, but with him coming back now, and him not automatically being in a title run and not doing this, and him, I know he'll be in a title picture again, but right now he's doing something else, and I think they're doing the smart stuff with him now, and I think when the WWE goes over to Fox, that's when he'll start, being in the title game again. But for now, let him go and do another way for now. So I think they're doing the smart thing with him, and that's why the fans are getting behind him right now. But this match was just a good way to show that there was something different about this episode of Raw, and we should have used that as a clue that this was going to be a different episode of Raw, because it was going to be
ratings showed too, because the ratings went up 10%.
Yeah, I mean, this was just good all around. Like, I picked up on that. Okay, if it's going to start out this good, like, I kept my fingers crossed that they were going to maintain it, and boy, did they not disappoint. They did not.
It was one hell of a show.
Yeah, they did not disappoint me, because, like, right after that, they did, they did their, it wasn't so much of a long break before the next match, but they had the Miz do his show, and the Miz's show, whether he's doing his heel character or right now he's doing his babyface Miz, which, yeah, okay, babyface Miz is cool, heel Miz is always funner, but his show has always been great when he does Miz TV, and he had Seth Rollins on there, and that was okay show, whatever. But that still didn't slow down the show. Seth Rollins is always he's really good on the mic, so when you have somebody who has great mic skills, can continue the show, or can keep the show flowing. If you don't have somebody that is great on the mic, and Miz is great, everybody knows that Miz is great on the mic, so even if Seth Rollins wasn't great on the mic, the Miz would still be able to keep the show flowing. But both of them were both able to keep the show going. Unfortunately, after that, though, we had I believe, I want to say, the whole fiasco with the Lucha House Party and Lars Sullivan. That kind of
we can skip to that.
Yeah, we that kind of slowed down the show a little bit, but then we had I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but we had the face off. No, I want to say we had the face off between Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair. I want to say. Yeah, we had we started off with Becky Lynch. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. We had Becky Lynch come out, and she spoke a little bit, and Becky Lynch, that's my girl. That is my girl. I love the Irish lass kicker. But She is not the Irish lass kicker no more. She is the man. And
Oh yeah, I know what this led to. This led to. You can tell us about this horrible match that we were about to see.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair was defeated by Lacey Evans by disqualification when Lynch pulled Flair out of the ring.
Well, no, actually, that's where they got it. That's where they got it wrong, actually.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte Flair was actually the winner because Becky Lynch grabbed Charlotte and kicked her outside of the ring, which made her the winner.
It does not matter. This match was terrible. This match was terrible in so many ways.
And I think that goes. I don't think that was. I don't think it was Flair's fault. I want to say that it was more on Lacey.
Lacey Evans can't work.
I don't want to say that she can't work per se. It's that she hasn't had enough time to be in front of a Raw ring in a Raw ring audience. She's just came out and waved, so she hasn't really had the experience, if you will. Like, she did plenty in NXT, but her, there's a difference between being in NXT and being on Raw. You know what I mean? Like, you get a few thousand.
I believe this match,
you get a few.
Was so bad that they told Becky to end this match.
I don't think so. Like, I think that. Like, the match was, it was okay. It just wasn't great when you think about the other women's matches. I shouldn't say matches. The other women's match that was on.
Yeah, sure didn't end well.
And I expected more.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I am a big fan of the women's wrestling in WWE. I like it more than the men's wrestling right now. I've been liking it. Is that right? I don't think I formed that sentence correctly. But right now though, in professional wrestling, the women are outdoing the men. And this match, I would say, is one of the lowest matches that has ever been. I would put this match almost in the Divas matches. If you know what I'm saying.
It was terrible. I mean,
like the Divas matches were okay.
It's a great look. I mean, she has a great look. I mean, she's a great character, and I would love to see her improve. But tonight, we would like to forget about tonight's match.
And, everybody has a bad night, and Monday night was hers. So hopefully, we get past that. The past is the past, and it is what it is. But she had a good match at against Becky, with her match against Becky. So, like I said, everybody has a bad match, bad night. It happens to everybody, whether it's nerves, whether it's whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, Becky came in. She stopped the match, and maybe they did send her in there. Who knows? But after that, we get one of the saddest moments, man. We get a sad moment, and I didn't.
This next segment was just.
I didn't like it.
That made me sick to my stomach because it was horrible. Because I believe this was lazy booking.
Well, I mean, it's on track of what Joe does and has been doing, but I didn't want to see Ray. Like, Ray has always been the underdog of everything. And like he said in his thing, he's gone up against bigger guys than Joe and has won. He's been hurt and gone on and yada, yada, yada. But, you know, for him to have to drop the belt and to give it to Joe, like, typically somebody has to drop the belt. There's a tournament, you know, and him to have to give it to Joe and then Joe attack him like that. I didn't like that. I wanted something to happen, like, you know, somebody to come out and then strip Joe, or, you know, maybe Rey Mysterio psych him out or something. You know, I wanted something to happen and it just didn't, and it was real disappointing to me. And I don't like stuff like that when somebody has to, like what Dolph Ziggler did to Kofi, and when somebody has to try and hurt somebody to do, there's other ways of doing that. And like you said, it's lazy booking, and it's just crap, and it's really sad.
I believe it was lazy booking. I believe they were too lazy to book a tournament.
Yeah, or, you know,
they made Joe choke him up.
Yeah, well, they made him hurt him even worse and whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, honestly, what I was really, really hoping would happen is I was hoping Dominic would come out with like a chair or something and just smash Joe or something. Like, I was really praying and hoping that would happen, but unfortunately it didn't.
Yeah, a lot of those fans would be, you know, they wouldn't be as angry.
Yeah, because, like, you know, he mentioned him and he was talking about, like, yeah, my son's training to do this and that, and I was like, oh man, he mentioned it, maybe it's gonna happen, you know, but unfortunately it didn't. Yeah. But, you know, then we get, you know, into some old school stuff, you know, where they used to have, like, the, you know, the gimmick arm wrestling matches. And we Lashley and Strowman. Lashley and Strowman, they did the
they've been at it for a while.
But you know what? I actually, you know, typically don't like those things. I think they're used as filler. But to be honest with you guys, I actually enjoyed it. Like, Lashley, like, this
was a good segment. This was a good face heel segment.
Yeah, Lashley killed in this, guys. Like, when he slapped Strowman and then the talking he did, did I make you mad? Did I make you mad? Like, oh, dude, he killed it. Like, he killed it in this, dude. Like, I'm loving Lashley.
That was good heat. That was good heat.
Right. But Strowman,
he won the arm wrestling match. Then Lashley attacks him after the.
Yeah.
Lashley attacks him after it. That sets up the match and that sets up the match for Friday. That sets up a match that we probably want to see. Yeah,
but what Strowman did though, when he won it, when he pinned the arm and then looks at him, like, that was like ultimate, like I got you, like damn, like, that's like ultimate domination right there. Like, pin and then stares at him, like, that was like woo right there, man. That was like, and then Lashley comes back at him with the chalk in the face, you know, and then works him over. That was awesome. That was really good. It wasn't just filler like normally those things are, you know what I mean? And I really enjoyed it. You know, but then we get what I would have to say was the rebound. The women's Revolution.
This was the better match. Nikki Cross and Peyton Royce.
Yeah, though the Iconics.
Peyton Royce is horrible, but
actually, she's the better of the two Iconics. You know, like, the two out of the two Iconics, she's the better of the two when it comes to wrestling. But Nikki Cross she's a fucking lunatic. Like,
she's a lunatic.
Like, her moves are just like crazy themselves. Like, her wrestling style is, and that's what she portrays. And like, but I don't understand what they're doing with her and Alexa Bliss. Like, I think I think they're setting Alexa Bliss up for a turn. Like, they're giving her what looks like to me a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. Like she's trying to be good, but the bad keeps showing its face. Like, you know, when she did the whole coffee thing, and then she was embarrassed, and then she came in and just whooped up on the Iconics, you know. And then Nikki Cross had to come out and like, hey, come on, no, look, we won. And then she's like, oh, okay, and then turned good again. You know what I mean? So I don't know what they're doing, because she's a better heel. Like, she's like the Miz. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to cheer for her, but at the same time, she is just a better heel. Like, you can't have everybody be a good guy. You know what I mean? There has to be somebody that you have to boo.
I don't know what they're going to do with Bliss, especially in 2 weeks. And we'll get to more about that with the SmackDown report. But,
exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting what
exactly
weeks with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. And again, yeah. I really didn't want to see what happened on Thursday. But, you know, that also goes to show that maybe she's over her concussions. So, you know, that's also a good thing.
That's great news.
That is good. But back into the match, you know, it was pretty much just a domination by Nikki, which was no question. Nikki was gonna whoop up on Peyton, because and then you know, something we didn't even really talk about was this whole episode was Brock Lesnar was gonna cash in. It was out on Twitter and everything that he was going to cash in this episode on Raw, and it was something that the Universal Champions talked about in that Miz match, or not match, I'm sorry, but in the Miz TV interview. He talked about that, and I can't believe we skipped over that, guys. That brain fart.
Yeah. Do you remember over the weekend that Stephanie McMahon said that she was going to take action on Brock Lesnar?
Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't over the weekend.
That never happened.
I believe that happened early on Monday. I want to say that happened early Monday. That she released that.
Yeah, I think Brock Lesnar didn't cash in all, when Seth Rollins was down, because all due to character arc and all that, and if he if he did cash in, then he'd probably be screwed. So anyway. Because, he's probably better off not, because, once the story, it's more developed, by then, he'd probably make more profit. Well, that's what I'm guessing, but...
Well, of course, I mean, these guys, are going to get more money on a pay-per-view, so yeah. He wasn't going to cash that in. He probably isn't even going to cash it in at the pay-per-view. He's gonna probably hold it out for WrestleMania. He's not going to cash that in. I honestly don't think he's going to cash that in at the pay-per-view either.
No.
Like, I think he's probably going to, like, maybe start to cash it in, and then something's going to happen, and he's going to grab the briefcase back, or... something. But I think he's going to hold on to that briefcase for a good while. I don't think they would have brought up that whole year thing. I think they're going to do that just so that they can keep that. Because Brock Lesnar is a part-timer, they can do that without putting the belt on him. but use that briefcase as the new belt. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
because people hated not seeing the belt not on somebody and it not being on TV every week.
Kind of traditional.
And not being defended month in, month out, day in, day out, whatever, and not having a champion. And so I think now they're going to use that Money in the Bank as the new belt. Or at least if I was the writer, if I was the booker, that's what I would do. I would give him that as the new belt and say, listen, you use that and you can, now use that as your new belt. And essentially that is your, that's the new championship. And there you go. And, yeah, I knew he wasn't going to cash that. I knew he wasn't going to cash that in, but he sure did put a whooping on Seth Rollins.
Whooped
him good. Yeah.
They say he was taken to a local medical facility for further evaluation after sustaining apparent injuries at the hands of Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and again, that's just all work for leading up to the show. The pay-per-view.
I agree.
I think just to give what's his name some sense of evenness, I guess. To make it seem like he might have a chance of winning the belt. I don't know why they're giving Baron Corbin this big push. I honestly don't. But they are, for whatever reason, they're giving him a big push. And I don't know. But
you know what? We don't even know what actually is the main event for Super Showdown.
Well, I've
said what the main event is.
Well, obviously, it's. I don't think it's going to be the. I think it's going to be Seth Rollins. Honestly, I think that's what the main event is. I think that's
be uneventful if that's the case.
Well, I mean, I think if he's if Brock Lesnar's what's the word? If he's on the card for supposedly cashing it in, then he's then that's a possibility to end the show. You know what I'm saying? So he could either cash that in and then that him raising the belt at the end of the show, or something happening to where he comes in and maybe right after what's his name pins Baron Corbin, everybody thinks he's gonna cash him in, and then he just beats the holy hell out of him again, and then just walks out and doesn't cash in. So just him being the threat of cashing in. That's why I think that's why I think him being the final match is why they're going to be the finale or whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know this is off topic, but did you hear about Sasha Banks? Apparently she had a post where I guess she announced new episodes from Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins SmackDown.
Where she what?
She announced new episodes from Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins SmackDown, and
new episodes of Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's trending it was trending the other day.
I didn't because they're the Raw.
They were a Raw tag team.
Yeah, they're the Raw tag team champions. So what do they have to do with SmackDown? I don't understand. The last thing I heard about Sasha Banks is that she had a meeting with WWE and things are starting to look better. And then she made a post with a new photo shoot with some Kendrick Lamar lyrics, and that's the last I heard from Sasha Banks. But you know, that's all I had heard. But getting back to Raw, after the Brock Lesnar after the Brock Lesnar did we talk about? Oh no, I'm sorry. We went into after the Nikki Cross match. We then get the Ricochet Cesaro match.
Cesaro. Yeah.
Now that was a way to have a final match. That was like, man, that was a match. That was
good match.
Yeah, that was a good main event. I mean, I'm loving the way these two are going at each other, and you forget that Cesaro is such a good singles competitor. I mean, he was with Sheamus for God knows, I can't remember how long they were together. Few years that they were in a tag team together, and they and they were great. They became a great tag team, but that took a while. But he, ultimately he's a great singles competitor, and this match just proves it. And him working with Ricochet, just shows that. It just shows how great of a singles wrestler and wrestler that he is, because him putting over Ricochet, being a young competitor and helping a younger wrestler get over, is just good. Goes to show, because a lot of people they don't like to lose, but and what people don't know about wrestling, it's not winning or losing. It's about how you can make not only yourself look, but the other person look, and it's about how the match can go. And if you can tell a great story and make the other person look good as well as yourself, then you've done your job. And Cesaro is doing an awesome job for Ricochet. And
and then he pulled out R-Truth under the when he went for a table. Wait, that was...
Yeah, no, that was on this match. Because, see, R-Truth,
yeah,
as the WWE 24/7 champion, Carmella had been looking for R-Truth throughout the whole show. She couldn't find him. And when...
That was fun to watch.
Yeah, when Cesaro pulled out the table from underneath the ring, he had been hiding underneath the ring all 3 hours of the show. And that was the funniest thing of the whole show. Like, that made, like, if, let's say all 3 hours of Raw had been like last week's Raw and completely sucked, right? If that would have happened, that would have made all 3 hours worth it. Luckily all 3 hours had been worth watching till that moment. But
yeah, it totally made up for last week's Raw for sure.
Yeah, but that was worth it. And R-Truth is always gonna be great and funny, and I love R-Truth, and I hope he never retires. I mean, the man's like 107 years old right now, and it doesn't look like it, but that man, he's up there. He doesn't look like it, and that's just because black don't crack, baby. Black don't crack. But yeah, I mean, Ricochet ended up pulling that out, but Cesaro, he did everything, man. He did everything in that match. That match was high flying. Ricochet did his high flying moves, but he ended up getting that pin. He pulled a counter out of nowhere in that corner, and he got that pin. He got that 1, 2, 3. He got that 3 count, baby. Yeah. But then we get what everybody's been waiting for, what I've been waiting for, my boy, The Undertaker. They've been talking about it since last week that he was coming, and he did his thing. He took 27 minutes to come down to the ring, but when he got down there, he did his promo. He did his thing. He talked about Goldberg, and I think, Undertaker, he is one of the best promo men in the business, and I do miss the old days of The Undertaker, where all he did was, he said like a couple lines, and didn't
talk much.
Huh?
Yeah, he didn't talk much.
Yeah, he would just say
back in the day.
Yeah, Paul Bearer would do the things, and then he would just pretty much agree with Paul Bearer, and then he would just say like, Hogan, you will see the angel of death tonight, and you will rest in peace. That's pretty much all he said. But now, he can cut, because I think they didn't think he could cut a promo back then. But, now he talks. But, I do miss the creepy voice. I do miss that creepy voice and whatnot. But, I mean, he cut a promo on Goldberg, and what he said to Goldberg, I mean, was awesome. He said he didn't want that family, man. He wanted the old school butt-kicking Goldberg, and everybody wants to see that. But do we, though? Do we want to just see the 2-move combo Goldberg on The Undertaker? I mean, I don't. I want to see a match. But can Undertaker pull off a match with Goldberg? Like, can he make Goldberg look good? I don't know.
And, Goldberg, he's sure been training quite a bit for this. Like, as you can tell, seems like he's gotten a lot more buffer.
Yeah.
He's sure look like, he could probably take a good beating and, give a harder one, so.
Yeah.
The odds could be in his favor.
Maybe. But one of the things I did not like, and this is my biggest beef, and it's not anything to do with WWE, it's with the USA Network, is how dare they cut off The Undertaker. They cut they cut off The Undertaker. How dare you cut off The Undertaker? Like, they cut Raw early. And so, like, he didn't get his full thing. He's like, rest in peace. Boom. And didn't get to do his thing. So that was a little messed up. So there you guys go. That's the end of Raw. Excellent episode. I enjoyed it, like we said at the beginning. Cool from front to back, side to side. Nothing I can say except for Lars freaking Sullivan's spot. That's the only thing they could cut out. And so
Lars Sullivan.
9.5 out of 10, and that 0.5 is Lars Sullivan and whatnot. Like, it would have got a 10, but I can't give it a 10 because of Lars Sullivan.
I wouldn't rank it a 10, no.
I can't give it.
I'd rank it a 7.
I give it a 9.5. No, you know what? I'm going to give it an 8 because of, unfortunately, the Lars Sullivan and the Lacey Evans. No, I'm going to give it 8.5 because I'm gonna give it a little bit because the man was involved. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more up because the man was involved with it. So 8.5 out of that. So
that's a pretty generous rating.
Yeah, because the man was involved, so I got to give it a bump because the man always, if the man's involved, always a plus.
That's a very generous rating. I mean, in fact, you give WWE more praise than most podcasters do.
Okay, well, tell me what else was wrong with that show besides Lars Sullivan and Lacey Evans and Flair? Nothing. Everything else.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Everything else was.
Unfortunately, I won't be. Yeah, unfortunately, I won't be joining you guys for SmackDown, but I'll definitely be back on Super Showdown. So yeah.
Well, hey man, we appreciate you taking the time to join us, and everybody again, welcome Grant to the team, and we appreciate you, Grant.
Thanks for inviting me on.
No problem, man.
Grant, are you going to be around for the New Japan show?
I will.
So guys,
okay.
We'll let you guys know. Here at the end of this broadcast, we're going to be starting a new show. It's going to be a show with Grant and Golden here. So we'll let you know a little bit more about that.
We're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we'll let you know a little bit more about that. But we're going to let Grant go here. Grant's got to go, guys. So everybody say bye to Grant. Grant, again, it's been a pleasure having you on for this first part of the show. So thanks for coming by, and we'll see you a little bit later, bud.
All right, see you, man.
All right. So now tonight we had SmackDown. SmackDown was just, you know what? I can't really. SmackDown was just SmackDown, man. SmackDown, it's always good. SmackDown, it hasn't really been bad. I can't really ever say anything bad about SmackDown because, I think Raw has to catch up to SmackDown, and SmackDown has been consistent. It's never bad. It's always it's consistent. It's consistently good in my book. Does it have its falters at some points in the show? Yeah. Where? Lars Sullivan. But other than that, great show. Blame
it on Lars.
I do because who the freak? What was his thing? Was it Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or what was his little rhyme that he did? It was stupid. But we get the show, and
I don't think he wrote that. I don't think he wrote that.
No, but what they had him do was him. That was his fault. Because it was him. And
that's wrong with WWE because they have writers telling the wrestlers what to say.
Yeah, but I don't. And again, this is me judging, but I don't think he can promo himself. Like he doesn't.
You don't think he can?
I don't think he can promo himself. He just doesn't seem the type that can promo himself. Maybe he can. Maybe he's the next Rock. I don't know. But I just don't see him being a good promo artist, especially with that heavy ass lisp. Like, I really can't take him seriously with that. But, again, maybe I'm just being too judgmental. I don't know. But, it's kind of hard to take somebody really serious when you're sounding like this. Like, I can't really take you serious when you're sounding like I thought I saw a pretty tat. You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense to anybody with the list. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not, like, I just can't take, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know, like, he can probably beat my butt. It's kind of like, when you see somebody that big, you just don't expect
somebody you want to get to a fight with.
Like, you see somebody that big, it's kind of like when you saw Mike Tyson, the first time you ever see him, right, you're like, dang, that dude's, like, man, right, like, that dude's something, man, dang. But then you hear him doing his first interview, and he's like, So Mike, how was that fight? Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? I would like to think, he was like ludicrous, right? And it's like, whoa, didn't expect to hear that voice come out of that man. You know what I'm saying? But so basically, right? Let's get down with SmackDown here. So we start off with Kofi and Xavier. We get the New Day coming out, and they doing their thing.
He's throwing pancakes. I mean, I don't like about Kofi doing that. I don't like him throwing pancakes. I mean,
it's Kofi, man.
That might be okay.
It's Kofi. It's the New Day. It's their thing. They're keeping it real of who they are and what they're doing. They're not.
I don't like him. I don't like him throwing pancakes as champion.
It's
because that's not what a champion does.
But
that's not what a champion does.
It's them keeping it who they are. You can't change to being who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to become corporate, champion. That's not who the fans got behind. The fans got behind the pancake throwing, the colorful colors wearing, clowning Kofi Kingston and the New Day, and that's who they got behind. And if they get behind somebody, if he goes and changes and stops doing that and changes who he is, they won't be behind him, and they'll pull that belt off him so quick. You know what I mean? So that's why they continue to have him do these things. And yeah, he's changed some things. That's why he said, he's like, I gotta be serious, guys. I gotta be serious. I'm champion now. I gotta be champion. But and he kind of brought that forward a little bit and said some things, but he's still gotta be who he is. But I did like what they showed. Kofi doing. Going back to Guyana and showing his history and this and that. And then, Dolph coming out there and doing the whole woe is me and playing his back. And but though, to give Dolph credit, I did like going back and seeing the old Dolph matches and stuff like that, and seeing the history of Dolph. And it's like, man, I remember those times, because Dolph was in the same boat as Kofi, and where he was at was making sense. And I like this angle that they're doing with Dolph and Kofi, because it is
one thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
One thing I don't like about it is it's too short. I think the angle is too short. That they had Dolph attack Kofi like 2 weeks ago, and they're already having the match this Friday. I think this feud should for a little bit over a month. I don't think that it's going to end at this pay-per-view. I think it's going to continue. I think it's going to keep going for a little bit longer. I don't think it's going to just be a one and done. I think it'll. They might. I think Kofi's gonna. I'm sure they'll have a match at Stomping Ground.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be. I think Kevin Owens was kind of just a filler match. I think Kevin Owens is something until maybe until what's his name is done with his program, and go maybe after the Intercontinental belt. I think. I don't know. I don't know if they'll push him down to the mid card. I don't know what they're doing with KO. I know that he wasn't supposed to turn this fast. Back they weren't going to turn him as quick as they did. But they unfortunately had to, and now they kind of don't know what to do with him. So now they're kind of like, Maybe they'll have him and Sammy tag for the belts. Oh, well, two heels going after the belts after each other. I don't know. So that might mean Brian. Wait, aren't they still? Yeah, they're still the champs, aren't they? Yeah, aren't Daniel Bryan and what's his name still the champs?
So they're still champions.
Okay. So yeah, they might have to drop the belts before Sammy and what's it called get the belts or go after the belts. So they might have to drop them, and I think they probably will.
And
so they can put Daniel Bryan.
No, Sami Zayn didn't get fired.
Oh, I know he wasn't going to get
Sami Zayn still has a job after
the controversy between
AEW.
Yeah, I knew that. I think it was written in. But anyway, back to what happened with Kofi and Dolph. Dolph came in and he was doing all the highlights of himself. And saying why me, it was me, it should have been me. And then Kofi brought up a point that kind of stopped Dolph in his place by saying, it could have been you, but when it should have been you, when you didn't like the way things are going, you quit and ran, and showed him dropping the belt and leaving. And honestly, I'd forgotten about that. I completely forgot about that.
He walked out.
I did. I forgot that he walked out and actually left the WWE. But they talked him back in and came back. But then we had a tag team match between the New Day and then KO and Sammy, and that was a great match. Back and forth match, and then the New Day win. Kofi hit a Trouble in Paradise for the win. And then, of course, what we expected, Ziggler came out of the stands and attacked Kofi. And then
that sets up the match.
Going into the match for Friday, which, we definitely don't expect Kofi to lose, but that's just giving Ziggler the momentum, kind of like saying cinnamon, but momentum. Then we see Shane backstage just running his mouth about Roman and all them, about with the revival and all that stuff on the Titantron. He just running his mouth. And what else happened? What else happened there, Golden?
Next they announce a triple threat between Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Flair. For the winner gets a title shot at Bayley at Stomping Ground later on that night.
Yeah, we got that on one of my favorite segments, on A Moment of Bliss. I love that Moment of Bliss because she does. I love her little talk show there. They really like when she comes out for her talk show. You always know it's going to be interrupted. I mean, you can almost count on it, just like what's his name's guitar solos. You know what I mean? Getting interrupted. It's just, and when it got interrupted, when she was doing her interview with Bayley, getting interrupted by Carmella, and then by Charlotte Flair, and then the whole triple threat match for the number one contendership. We knew that was going to happen. And then we get the announcement. We see the R-Truth back.
McMahon tells R-Truth has the match in the ring for our 24/7 title defense against Elias.
Yeah. We see him on the phone talking with somebody, and apologizing and everything about the interruption and saying that that the 24/7 rule is going to be suspended and whatnot, and he's actually going to have a match, and nobody can interrupt during that match.
It's a lumberjack match.
Yeah, we find that out a little bit later. We find out why Truth was so upset when he was on that phone call, and we find out that's a lumberjack match with Elias, and
so Truth gets his ass kicked outside the ring. They throw him back in the ring, and Elias gets a quick roll up and wins the title.
Yeah.
Then they go. Then Elias. Then after Elias in the ring, then Elias escapes outside the ring, crawls inside the ring. Then Elias crawls back outside the ring, and R-Truth meets him outside the ring, and Elias crawls back inside the ring, inside the ring.
No.
And the referee, the referee follows both of them inside the ring.
No, they didn't go inside the ring. Underneath
the ring.
They were
underneath the ring.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Underneath the ring. They're both underneath the ring.
Yeah.
So they're both underneath the ring. Then crawls from underneath the ring to the outside to the outside of the ring with the title.
Oh yeah, see,
his hand raised.
Yeah, see, because all the wrestlers were inside inside the ring from beating. They were still all wrestling each other inside the ring. They didn't notice Elias had escaped. You know what I mean? He got out of there, and they didn't notice that. And so he was trying to crawl out of there. And R-Truth, he had already been thrown out, and or actually he had rolled out after he had gotten beat. So he was sitting there already outside the ring. Well, Elias bumped into him, and he tried to crawl underneath the ring. Well, what's his name just went right after him, and everybody else was too busy in the ring fighting to notice those two outside of the ring there. You know what I mean? So the ref, he saw them. So, hey, I'm gonna go underneath there because what's the rules? 24/7, right? So next thing we know, out comes the ref. Out comes R-Truth. Ding, ding, ding. R-Truth gets his hand raised. And
R-Truth is the champion again.
Exactly, but who sees him though?
And who sees him? That sees him is what's his name? That short guy.
Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick sees him.
Maverick, and he runs after him and
misses.
That's how the segment ends.
Yeah, he sees him and then tries to jump after him, and then Carmella and what's his name escape. Not unfortunately, but thank goodness, because I love my boy having that belt, man. That's the best thing. He's the best thing for that 24/7 belt. That is the only thing saving that ugly ass title. The only thing saving that ugly belt. And so, we get after that.
The next segment.
Well, we get Aleister Black, of course.
Aleister Black. He says last week he issued an open challenge.
Man, this week he
challenge.
Yeah, he just said, "Listen."
He says he's patiently waiting.
But he just wants somebody
a fight with him.
Yeah, he just wants somebody to take a fight. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I think, splitting him and Ricochet up was, they don't have anything to. I don't know what their long-term plan is for him. Right now I think they just kept him they wanted to move him because him and what's her name are a couple in real life, and typically they keep couples together. That's why Andrade is on SmackDown because of him and Charlotte Flair to being a real life couple, and with what's her name being Andrade's manager, of course they're going to move Aleister Black with him and what's her name? Andrade's manager, I can't remember her name right now. It's slipping my mind. Being married in real life.
In other words, they don't have any.
They don't split up couples. They don't split up couples. So they don't have anything to do with him right now. I don't know. Maybe there's a long-term goal for him, but right now they don't. As far as I can see, they don't have anything for him, and that's why they have him just doing vignettes right now. And so next we got the triple threat between Flair, Bliss, and Carmella. Now, I have to say that right there is enough. There was a
segment. There was a segment before that.
Oh, well,
Shane McMahon came down to the ring with the Revival.
Oh yeah, there was that. There was the Shane McMahon, thing where it was interrupted by Roman Reigns. Yeah, he came out, and then the Revival went to attack him. He Superman punched him, and when he was walking to go attack Shane, Drew McIntyre was hiding off to the side, and he Claymore kicked him, threw him back in the ring, and Shane McMahon, he did his thing. He mocked him. He did, they kicked him and just whooped his tail. And, it's pretty much just a segment for Shane. It was something that...
They did the same thing they did to him on Monday night. They just beat him up 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, it's just a good way to get lots of heat for Shane because what's his name is really hot right now. And I think they did that to get Shane that heat so that they could get more praise for Roman to make sure that he gets those the cheers because of such a butt whooping that he got by all of those guys, because it took all those guys to whoop him. So I think that's why they did that, so that he can have those cheers, but that's just my opinion, and again, my opinion's the only one that counts. No, I'm playing. But next we get Charlotte Flair, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss, and this match here, it's just an awesome match. This match is what basically is what women's wrestling, not women's wrestling is textbook, man.
This was better than both matches on Raw last night.
Yeah, God, the storytelling in this was just awesome. Like, I want to say, though, that the best spot in this match was done by Carmella when she did that back and forth pin, like 50 million pins that she did, like one to Flair, she got the kick out, then back to Bliss, got the kick out, back to Flair. Like, I don't know how many, I lost count on how many times she pinned those two side by side. That was like, oh my God, that was just so funny to me. Like, I don't know how many times she got, but that was the best. That was the best. And then unfortunately, Mandy Rose and what's her name came out. Mandy Rose and
Sonya Deville.
Yeah, Sonya Deville. I couldn't remember her first name, but Sonya Deville came out and kind of distracted Carmella and kind of took her out of the mix a little bit. And really, that's that's they got involved, and pretty much ended it for Carmella. Like, she was about to get the win, and they grabbed her leg and stopped her essentially from winning, because then Bliss was able to hit the DDT on Carmella to get the title shot, which goes back to your question earlier of why did they let a Raw superstar get a contendership at the SmackDown title. I don't know, man. I can't answer that question for you. I don't know. I honestly.
Hey, why do we have a brand split?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe so Flair, to stop Flair from being in the title, because I mean, shit, like, who else would they have? Bayley.
And there's so many talented women on SmackDown. I mean, you got. I mean, if I can get a list of the women that are on SmackDown, I mean, you got the Veil, Carmella, you got Flair, you got the 2 Japanese women.
Yeah, but right now, I don't know what happened to them, though. I don't know. I mean, they were supposed to be going after the tag team title.
They're not even on TV. I mean,
Paige, and them 2 haven't been on TV.
Not getting You know why people are not getting airtime? Is because of the wild card rule. Well, the wild card rule is stupid.
Well, okay, that aside. Okay, they're not. They took them off of TV, but yet the tag team champions are on TV going in as singles wrestlers. So is either Asuka or what's her name hurt, and that's why they're not on TV?
That's not even been reported. No, they're not hurt.
Well, just because it's not reported doesn't mean that. Maybe it's just not being reported. I mean, who knows? I mean, like, why would the tag team champions be on TV but just wrestling as singles wrestlers? Do you see what I'm saying?
It's a good question. I mean,
like, I don't understand.
There's plenty of women talent that could challenge for those tag team titles.
Yeah. So
there's plenty of women talent that could be on TV.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's plenty of talent that can be on TV, and they're not getting airtime because of the wild card rule. I mean, there's too many wrestlers.
Yeah.
Shows. I don't agree with the wild card rule at all.
I agree with it. I agree with it. I just don't think that it should be the same people over and over again. That's what I don't agree with. Like, it has been the same people. Like, okay, I think Alexa Bliss was a new person for the wild card rule. And Charlotte Flair was new when she went to Raw. And Alexa Bliss was new when she went to SmackDown. But other than that, it's been the same people. I mean, it's been Roman and Kofi.
Same people.
It's been Roman and Kofi. I don't know if Shane counts because he's a McMahon. Kofi
wasn't even on. Kofi wasn't on Raw this week.
No, he wasn't because he was in Guyana. But I mean, other than that, since the wild card rule hasn't been instated, he's been on there every week. Let's see who else. Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre, yeah.
And
for truth, but I guess he has to be because he's the 24/7 champion.
Yeah. So I don't think he counts because. But yeah,
what makes me want to pull my.
But I think that it should be different people. I mean, I don't mind seeing different.
Mix it up,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Yeah, if they did that, then it would be a great rule. You know, but unfortunately they don't. and that's what's killing it. If they did, then it would be an awesome rule, because more people would be able to get airtime. But I think if they keep it going once the Fox deal happens, then I think more people will get that, because they're obviously going to then keep Roman on one show, right? Because, they're going to need somebody there as a mainstay. Kofi's going to then stay on one show. And then they'll be able to have more people. There's not going to be a need to have two champions on one show anymore, or maybe they're just doing it for this pay-per-view, or maybe they're only going to do it leading up to a pay-per-view. I don't know. This Super Show is kind of a weird one, because it's another pay-per-view thrown in right after a pay-per-view. So I think that it seems so close. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, because it's
so close. Yeah. It's so close to the other pay-per-view.
Yeah. So
that's what you remember when WWE was running two pay-per-views a month. That was like burnout.
Yeah, and so I think with this Super Show thrown in right after right after the last pay-per-view, we're seeing the same main eventers being on the show, because they're leading up to with these storylines. They're trying to build up to the hype to this pay-per-view. Now, have this pay-per-view not been there, had the Super Show not been there, I don't think we would, because the next pay-per-view isn't till next month, right? What is it? Showdown? Is that the next name of the next pay-per-view? Showdown? That's here in Tacoma, I think. In June, later this month. Showdown, is that the name of it? I think so. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. The next pay-per-view, is it Showdown?
Oh.
Yeah. Later this month. So had they not had that pay-per-view, it would have been like at least a month before the pay-per-view. So we wouldn't have gotten those same people building up to this massive ass thing. We would have had a different pay-per-views with different players scheduled, But because of this pay-per-view thrown in the middle, we're not going to get that build-up. And now we're going to get this pay-per-view, and then they're going to have to quickly build up to the next pay-per-view after this. And they've already started hyping. They already hyped the pay-per-view for Showdown here. Roman Reigns, I think, versus Drew McIntyre. I think that's what they had. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. And oh geez, who else?
I
can't remember.
Do we even care about that match?
No, but you can already see that's what they're. You can already see that's what they're hyping after Shane and Roman. Yeah, Roman's probably going to beat Shane, or McIntyre's going to get involved with that, and this match will probably be the culmination of Roman and Drew, because they kind of never finished their stuff, because what's his name got drafted to SmackDown. So, they were in the middle of their thing, and then Roman got drafted to SmackDown, and McIntyre was kind of left with getting beat at WrestleMania, and then that was it. So I think that he's gonna get his revenge at the show here in Tacoma, and then then it might be done. I think it'll be done because then they'll hit their they'll hit their, I don't know, whatever the word is I'm looking for here. They'll hit their split. They'll go their separate ways. Let's see. After that, then we get that horrible interview with Lars No Speak, where he talks about him being a freak and all that, and it was just horrible. I don't know. That was they would just cut that out. Like I don't know. He needs to go to acting school or something. I don't know. But then we get Andrade versus Apollo Crews.
Which was cut short by a
Finn Balor.
parents.
Yeah. So,
Somehow Andrade
he hits him with
in the brawl. Yeah, he
hits him with a hammerlock DDT, and then he disrespects Cruz. And out of nowhere comes Finn Balor to make that save, and then they go at it, and Vega distracts Balor, and then Andrade gets it turned back around, and Andrade drops Balor with another hammerlock DDT. So he's going to have to be on his game if he's going to even think about beating the Demon, because you know what happens when the Demon comes out, man. It's pretty much a pretty one-sided match. So I don't know, man. I don't know why they're doing the Demon two pay-per-views in a row. Isn't it? Yeah, 2 pay-per-views in a row. So I don't know if they're gonna start oversaturating the Demon now. But we will see. But yeah, then we get a replay of what happened with the Undertaker before with what happened on Raw with the Undertaker's promo. And then we get Goldberg making his first ever appearance on SmackDown. And he actually cuts one hell of a promo, which Goldberg isn't actually known for being a promo man. So for not being a promo man, he cut a nice promo, I would have to say. And what happened, like when I was watching it, I was watching it and I was like, please let the lights go out. Please let the lights go out. And then what happens? Gong. Yes. And then face to face, Undertaker and comes out. I was like, yes, my boy is out there. Like I wished it into happening. You know what I'm saying? Like I wished the Undertaker there. It happens, and then Goldberg turns around. He like laughs. He realizes he's there, and he's laughing at it. And then he turns around, they're face to face, and I'm like, oh, choke slam him. And then the lights go back off, and he's gone. So Undertaker just playing his head games, you know how he does, but it didn't like full Goldberg or nothing. It didn't get in his head. It just kind of, I don't know, it didn't mess with Goldberg at all. It just kind of put him in a mood. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, all right, let's do this Friday. Let's do this. And Raw or SmackDown goes off the air after they do some more little highlights and whatnot, and goes off the air. And it ends another episode of SmackDown.
That's yeah, I'm kind of curious who's going to win that match between Taker.
Yeah, me too, man. I almost don't want either one. I kind of want like, I don't know, man. I kind of want like a disqualification or something to happen, man, so that like so that neither one of them win. To be honest with you, so that like nobody can have a win over each other. So that so that like they
that's a match that should have been booked 15 years ago.
Well, of course, but I don't think, was it Undertaker there during Goldberg's first run, or was he gone? I think he was gone during his first run. I think. We'll see. We'll see how that pay-per-view goes. It's going back to early 80s pay-per-views, or not 80s, or late 80s, early 90s, when there was no women's wrestling. So we'll see, but it was good all around, and I really enjoyed it. But till we meet again, guys, we're gonna wrap up this episode. I thank you guys for hanging in there for this extremely long episode. This hour and a half. I thank everybody that stayed around for this extremely long episode of the three count podcast. So for Grant, our newest member, I am Big Papa Trav, and
King Golden.
we'll see you next week.